Hello everyone, welcome to Clay Formations. Today we're going to be forming some clay into the Warrior, the Last Stand. First we'll start out with our armature jig and wire. This is my cat Harley. We had to say goodbye to him about a week after we made this video. He was very sick. So I'm going to dedicate this video to him. First we grab all of the tools that we're going to need, and we use the jig to bend the armature into human form. I use twisty ties to hold things together until I either glue them or wrap them with wire. You don't want to glue these two halves together because you want it to be flexible, so I just wrap wire around them and then cut the ties off after I'm done. There we are. Alright, now we set the pose of the armature. As you can see, his arms are a little short. I have to add some a little bit later. Using the calipers to make sure that both arms are the same length. And then we add the forearms. A little bit of glue. After it dries, you remove the twisty ties and wrap them with wire. And there you go. Solid. Okay. He's going to be standing on a cliff rock formation. So we'll make those out of blocks of wood. Then I number them all so they go back to the right spot. Now I get to make some sawdust. After they're all shaped the right way, I go ahead and cut the base that they'll be placed on. Round that out. And then we put the cliff back together again, using lots and lots of wood glue. There we go. Alright. There we go. Nope. Way to go. Alright, let's just tilt it back a little bit. That'll keep it from falling. Add a little more glue. That'll hold it. There we go. Nope. Okay. Wonder how long it's going to take before I figure this out. There you go. Put that block of wood in there so it doesn't fall over, and then let it dry. After the wood glue's all dry, I fill the big gaps in with some tin foil because I'll be covering it with the Flex and Fill. This is the Flex and Fill. After I put it on, I mix up a slurry solution, and then I go over it with the paintbrush. That kind of smooths it out a little bit. All right, we start with his head. As you can see, he's going to have a skull head, reminiscent of the Ray Harryhausen, Jason and the Argonaut skeletons. I found this glove, and it really works well for texture. I'm poking holes in his head. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have hair flying in the wind, so I needed something for the armature wire to stick in. There we go, adding the jawline. notice here that his jaw is a little thick. Alright, after baking the head, I attach it to the body. I've already put a little bit of tin foil for his torso, but I need to attach him to the base first. Alright, now that I've spray painted the base, it's time to work on his shield. I had to work on this modularly because certain things couldn't be in the way while I was sculpting other parts. So I decided to do the shield first. Using a Bacon Bond liquid Sculpey, I attached it to the wood. I have to tell you that I tried this once before, and it didn't work because I made the whole thing out of clay and it was way too heavy. It literally made the whole armature sag. And we're talking about galvanized wire, so it was pretty heavy for it to bend that way. Using all my tools to texturize. Adding some embellishments. Trying to make it all look like one piece with the edges of the shield. I almost wanted to make the shield look like it was a weapon as well. That if you wanted to hit somebody with it, it would do some damage. Starting to come out okay here. A few more sharp ends at the bottom. Now to make it look like hammered metal. You texturize it like this, and then you paint it black and then dry brush silver. And of course, what shield wouldn't be complete without rivets? All right, so now I'm going to cut out a little area here, and I have to tell you, I cheated. I have some little acrylic skulls that I cut in half in order to stick to it. I just didn't have the energy to make another skull. So here we are, dry brushing the silver on it. And that's how you get that metal look. Looks pretty good. Now to paint the inside to make it look more like wood and less like just black paint. Remember, always start with your dark colors first, and then you work up to lighter. And there you go. One shield. All right, let's make a sword. I took a brass and covered it with Epoxy Sculpt, and here I am grinding it down. That's one nice thing about Epoxy Sculpt. You can file it, sand it, scrape it, and get it exactly the way you want it. You can make it smooth as glass, or you can make it as rough as it can be. And it's always a good idea to wet sand it too, because it does create a lot of dust and it's not good for you to breathe in. All right, let's make the hilt. I didn't want it to look too, mechanical. I wanted it to look like it was sort of a little more organic and just hammered into the shape that the warrior wanted it to be. And I also wanted it to mirror what the shield looked like as well. So I'm going to give it the hammered metal look. It was really fun making this piece. It was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. It took me a long time to make it. It took me a lot longer than most sculpts take me to do. I worked on this one for about 2.5 months. The whole video was like something like 250 shots, anywhere from 20 minutes to 5 minutes. Just tons and tons of footage that I had to go through, and I really had to cut it down. Otherwise, you guys would have been bored out of your skull. I don't want to do that. I want to make it as fun to watch as I possibly can make it. All right, here we're going to add the leather binding to the handle. I'm going to add a little support to the sword. Hammered metal. And of course, it needs some rivets too, so we'll go ahead and add some of those. Each piece of this was basically its own work of art. The shield, the sword, the base. I wanted it to start out simpler and be more abstract, but as usual, it ends up being more detailed, and what can I do? Okay, so now we're going to size up the hand with the hilt of the sword to make sure that it will be in the right position. And then I add some Epoxy Sculpt. All right. After all that, the shield, the sword, the base, we can finally start working on the warrior. I'm remembering right now that not only do I have to do the body, but I have to do the hair as well. Ugh. I always bite off more than I can chew. Anybody else have that problem? I do. Like I said, I found a pair of gloves at the hardware store that really work well for texturizing clay. So after I would put the clay on with these gloves, I would switch to the other gloves, and I would texturize it with my fingers. I was really surprised at the results. I was very pleased with it. After a while, I took the gloves off and I cut a piece of it out because they were so bulky. So I would just take that little square of the glove and do the texture that way. Necessity is the mother of all invention. The thing that I find amazing about sculpture is that you end up surprising yourself all the time. I mean, I do not consider myself a professional artist. I'm very much an amateur, and I'm learning as I go. I have to do a lot of research, a lot of study, and a lot of mistakes. But I learn as I go, and when I work on certain pieces, I start out really insecure, and I really, have, almost a failure to launch. But while I'm working on it, I don't realize it. And then when it's all done and complete, I say to myself, how the heck did I do that? What was I? And you almost wish like you could bottle that and save it because you're going to need it for your next sculpture. But I always seem to find something new that I learn. And no matter how many sculptures I do, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to overcome that. The insecurity of being able to start a sculpture and always, wanting to do better or wanting to do more. So don't let that stop you, though. I don't let it stop me, but still, it's just kind of funny how you begin something and you just wonder how you did what you did. Okay, here I am adding the wires to the head for the hair, and what I'm going to be doing is laying cotton roving to it to make it look like it's floating in the wind. Adding more. No, that's not going to work. So I take some off, and I say, okay, we've got to tone this down a little bit. That's when I realized that I really didn't need that many wires sticking in his head. So I decided to put the wire on the back and sort of do a hairline here in the front, and just sort of lay the roving over that, and then just add it to the back. All right, so I figured if I put the sword here and put it on now, it wouldn't be in my way too much. So I went ahead and did it. Adding some knuckles for his hand and blending it into his wrist. There it is. Oh, hands are hard. Alright, so I decided to go ahead and paint his face and the body before I did the hair. And here we go with the hair. The hair is cotton roving, and it is soaked in a gem tack glue. It's called gem tack. And you water it down, thin it out with water, and then you saturate the hair in the gem tack. And it once it dries hard. Then you can paint it, add to it. This was my first real try with the hair. Definitely interesting. Took a long time to get it the way I wanted, and it wasn't easy. Brushing a lighter coat on it to make the texture stand out. Okay, let's give him some armbands. The warrior needs a gauntlet. Adding his laces, leather laces, to tie it together. Now the other side. Give him some sharper rivets. Now for his loincloth. Everybody needs a big riveted belt. This one sort of evolved as I went. I just kept adding more stuff to it. Well, I gave him gauntlets. Let's give him shoulder pads too. I think that's why it took so long, is because I just kept adding more to it. And of course, if he has a gauntlet, he needs shin guards too. Really needs to eat a few hamburgers, I think. I had to be careful because the body was already painted, and I didn't want to have to repaint there, so I had to be really super careful not to get it on the body. Didn't have to worry too much about the silver because it was light. Looks like we're getting pretty close. It's got to be Roman red. Got to be a Roman red loincloth. Giving a little bit of lighter color to bring in the depth. And then the base. All right. You made it this far. Give me a thumbs up, likes, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. But for now, I'm going to sign off and just let you guys enjoy the rest of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.